5 pages of balance changes are out, but to be fair, there isn't much to talk about. For instance, in the first page, the most notable buff is to the dire rage, which is a good usable meta gun even now, but of course USS9 pushes it out of the main meta. But after the bullet spread accuracy is improved quite significantly and the lower arm multipliers are buffed as well, it will become a viable option to use again. Most likely not among the top meta, but surely in the meta, as at the moment it is kind of like a good farmer meta, good non-meta. Now AK-47 damage mag, better ADS movement isn't that much of a difference, and other things in this page they are also not too significant to highlight. Second page is a bit more relevant, so the buffs to the striker make it better in terms of mobility. And I made a video a few seasons ago and noted that it has good damage, but with slow mobility makes it a passive camper's weapon. Now this mobility will be improved and it might be more viable. It will be one of the weapons that I will be testing out. RAL has the bullet impact of 2, which is pretty high, and hit flinch reduction, bullet spread improvement. It does make the gun more usable, but it is still very slow, unlike the Holger, which will get even better ADS movement speed after the buff. And even at the moment I would say that from LMGs it would be the most versatile choice because it has good mobility, and so we will be seeing more Holgers for sure. HG-40 nothing all that relevant. Tundra got another nerf, but that's just to shield the new sniper, much like happened with the XM4 Type 19. A new similar gun appears and then the old one gets nerfed, so more people would buy the new one. Now XM4 Odin buffs to the bullet spread accuracy or like a removal of a bug is certainly a good change, and I will absolutely be trying them out. Sparrow got a buff, but the problem with the Sparrow is that simply we have Death Machine, I believe, I always confuse those two, well the explosive one, which would be better, and the another issue is that trophy system just prevents some explosions from happening, but it becomes more usable. Now Tempest got a couple of buffs, and Tempest buffs are quite interesting, but I think that players basically not long ago discovered that you can hip fire with Tempest to just get insta kills, and so now it got a bit of a buff. Tag 5 nerf does not make much sense, but well, it happened. Tag deploy control field, nothing too notable. C4, well, reduced throwing range, I'm not against it. Like, it's super annoying when someone just throws C4 and explosive, but for those who use it a lot it might be an issue. Stim shot is pretty much ruined because even though it will have better HP regeneration, there will be no longer a significant movement buff, and at this point I think that we can just use some other tactical throwable. Heartbeat sensor has battery duration of 20 seconds. I guess after 20 seconds of looking at it you will have to wait some cooldown period, maybe, or maybe it will be just like gone completely. But it is something that used in Search and Destroy, so I don't really know much about it, honestly. Stormball, okay. It will have a different activation. Well, we will see how it goes. This page right off the bat, and probably the most important buff is to the EMP system, because it will cost a lot less to activate. Just to give an idea, it is between Goliath and Cluster Strike. So you will be able to get it like every match, which allows you to just destroy any problematic score streaks and will change a bit how players choose the score streaks, because it will be just way too easy to destroy Goliath, VTOL, Stealth Chopper, whatever. And VTOL also got a buff to the cost, but that is a good thing because if resistance users deploy them sooner, you have more time to take them down. And so you can recover, because I think that the worst is the VTOL at the very end of the match. Like one enemy sits in the last OBG and some enemy deploys VTOL and just spams rockets and you cannot go to the OBG and you lose. But if it happens like 1 or 2 OBGs before the very end, you have time to destroy it, and then they just lose it and most likely will not get it again in the same match, because that is how persistence works. Orbital laser will cost a bit less, that is also quite significant. Now Strafe Run also an interesting buff because it is not bad and now it will be easier to acquire. And Guardian is quite annoying because the HP will be bigger now. And other things, well, the optimized controls, I want to try them out because at the moment they are quite awkward. And Vulture Tracker, well, they are like good buffs but nothing too important. Well, Sam Turret, is a good buff because it will be easier to get it, but at the same time EMP system is just better. Final page, emergency airdrop will have now a higher chance to get an expensive Scorsese, gunship will cost less. And overall, these balance changes are actually pretty unique because most of them are about these Scorsese. And that means that we will have to test Scorsese and maybe find different Scorsese options to use compared to what we are using now. And the buff to the emergency airdrop is actually pretty funny because it will give you a gunship or VTOL whatever, and then enemy will just deploy the EMP, will just use the EMP system or SAM turret. So these buffs we will give a lot of room to improvise and just to find explore new Scorsese options. But by the end of everything, I think that there is a chance that we will go to the more or less the same ones. Other than that, the Reach returns to the meta, Holger becomes better, Striker seems more usable, but I think that most likely it will not be able to compete with other options that we already have. But well, we will have to see about it. Otherwise, the Reach and Holger, certainly you can use them in the Season 7. Other than that, well, this Scorsese changes, like I said, it is quite a big change, at least it will be chaotic at first. But eventually it will just like even out, and whatever best Scorsese will be, people will use. But at least for the Season 7 until Season 8 it will bring some chaos. But overall, like EMP, I can use EMP or I can use FAJ or the Termite Manowar. And if I use EMP, I cannot use RAPS and Cluster and UAV. But at the same time, do I want to use RAPS when an enemy can just drop EMP? See, this brings questions.